Hello and welcome to Building the Premier Accounting Firm. This is a podcast dedicated to individuals to help them have a successful accounting, bookkeeping, and tax business. As a show, we are dedicated to helping accounting professionals confidently and competently offer quality accounting services to get paid what they are worth. Each of the episodes is conversational with tips and tricks to help you. Tips and topics include such things as marketing, lead generation, ideal clients, pricing, price strategies, accounting services, value-added services, workflow, practice management, staff training, client onboarding, client retention, and relationships. This podcast is basically designed to help you become an accountrepreneur so that you can work on your business with the advice from the experts. I'm your host, Roger Knecht, president of Universal Accounting Center. I've been doing this now for over 20 years, helping accounting professionals successfully start and build their accounting businesses around the world. And I'm excited to share with you our guest today, Scott Nielsen. Scott is a partner and sales team leader with Patriot. Now, he is a pioneering leader with a rare gift of connecting people together to accomplish unique, exciting tasks. Now, he has successfully founded a socially beneficial investment fund, raised over $600,000 for charitable organizations, and launched no less than 7 different community groups. Professionally, Scott uses his pioneering leadership to create partnerships with accounting professionals and their firms, helping them launch and grow their businesses through Patriot software. Now, Patriot happens to be a fast, easy, and affordable accounting and payroll software for small businesses and their accountants. Why? After a rough startup experience, Patriot knows firsthand what small businesses need in order to break through and achieve success. So Patriot created a software service to help you keep the 2 things that you need and don't have enough of: time and money. So with that, welcome to the show, Scott.
Thanks so much, Roger. Great to be here.
This is going to be fun. Now, obviously, one of the things that's unique about this conversation is I understand you're not an accountant yourself. Isn't that right?
That's correct. That is correct. Not an accountant.
So here's the question I want to ask is, as you work with accounting professionals so often, what strikes you as unique about the profession itself? What could you say about us? What do we need to know when someone looks from the outside in?
Man, I love accountants, actually. I think accountants are great. I love the detailed nature of the conversations I have, the nitty-gritty questions, really pressing down, the same love of numbers I think so many accountants have gets applied to the business as well. So when they're talking with us here at Patriot, seeing if we're a good fit for their business, they're applying that same attention to detail. And I just think that's fantastic. So I would encourage you never to lose that. Keep that attention to detail in all facets of life. It makes you uniquely you and is a real gift, not just to your clients, but to the world in general.
Very good. Good. Now, obviously, there's this distinction with Patriot that it's both an accounting software and a payroll software. Let's talk about payroll for a few minutes. Many of the firms that are listening may or may not be offering payroll services. So let's just talk about that. Why should a firm consider offering payroll services?
Yeah, you're right. There are plenty of firms who I think have, bought into the myth that, maybe payroll, too much work for the return, right? Not enough profitability, too much liability when you're doing payroll for folks. I hear a lot of people say things like, payroll is a lose-lose service. If it goes great, your client never thinks about it or thanks you for it. If it's broken, your client blames you. So definitely a couple of, obstacles, challenges out there that people will sometimes list as, hey, here's why in my bookkeeping or accounting firm, we're choosing not to do payroll. The truth of the matter, though, is payroll can be a real growth engine. There has been tons of research done on this, but at least 60% of small business owners would be willing to outsource their payroll to an accounting or bookkeeping professional if they could, if that opportunity were in front of them. And when you do the math on that, there's, I think the last figure I saw was 30.7 million small businesses out there. And so if 60% of them would be open to an accounting professional helping them out with their payroll services, that's obviously quite the large market. Something like 60 million employees at those small businesses as well. So it's a pretty pretty big market opportunity, and it can be a real growth engine for particularly, accounting firms, your entrepreneurs, the firms that are starting out, really looking to grow that client base. I've seen time and again, so many firms market payroll services really as a way to get kind of a foot in the door with a client. It's a huge pain point that small businesses are feeling. So it's a great way for a firm to create that relationship. I have one partner in general who has even given it away at cost or even free to some clients just to start that relationship and then seek to upsell them to his more comprehensive bookkeeping packages and accounting packages and advisory services. So definitely I would say it's a growth engine. It can be a way to build the client base. The other real reason to consider offering payroll would be it can be profitable. Again, I think it's a myth that gets floated around that payroll services aren't profitable, but with the right pricing structure, if accountants are willing to charge what they're worth for payroll, with the right pricing structure and the right, I'd say, partner, software partner in place, payroll can be quite profitable. I've kept about, 50, 60 different data points as I've seen accountants share what they're charging for payroll. And what I've noticed most is somewhere in the realm of $90 to $110 per month as a base fee, and then anywhere from $4 to $6 per month per employee on top of that base fee. And when you consider an option like Patriot, who our best pricing is $15 a month, $2 per employee, there's quite a bit of profit margin there for the accountant, the bookkeeper, the CFO, whatever type of firm you're running. Payroll can be quite a profitable endeavor. So those are the two main reasons that when I'm talking with accountants, they will add payroll to their service: is growth engine, really building up that client base, and also profit center.
Yeah. Now, you've covered a number of things there that I want to tap on. So let's kind of go through these, I presume in sequence, if my memory serves me well. The first, obviously, being this loss leader idea. Well, it's a loss leader only if the firm chooses to actually sell it at a loss and use it as a way of bringing in clients. Otherwise, as you're describing, it can be a profit center. And that's, I think, very important to know. You just need to be pricing it correctly, and then it doesn't have to be that loss that sometimes it may be. The other happens to be from a business model. It makes sense. Now, this is something that's an insight that I think sometimes is overlooked. Many that come from large businesses and have that corporate career type background, as they start their accounting businesses, fail to really quickly realize this. And that's that for the small business owner, payroll is an integral part of the accounting process. But when you're looking at a larger company, many of us, when we're working for larger businesses, it's not the accounting department that's running the payroll. It's the human resource department that runs payroll. If we've got a payroll question, we go speak to HR. And if we're dealing with payroll issues, they're usually the ones that are handling them. The reason why I bring this up is because when you start working with small business owners and you're talking to the business owner who is the potential client, they in their mind don't have an HR department. Mm-hmm. When they look at us as accounting professionals, what they see is payroll. You guys do payroll. That's the assumed thing that we're expected to perform. And so for a lot of accounting professionals that are offering accounting services to small businesses, one of the first little ahas of, I'd never even thought of this, I didn't realize it, is they expect me to do payroll. Now, whether you actually are the one performing the payroll function or if you outsource it to a payroll company, the payroll has to be done by somebody, and the business owner is assuming that if I'm paying you to do the accounting, oftentimes they're just assuming that payroll is part of that package. So I think it's only appropriate that we have this conversation of you consciously deciding as an accounting business whether or not you specifically offer this service. And what you're suggesting is it can be a profit center, it can be done. And one of the things that I really like about payroll is even more than the accounting information, the payroll is an integral part of the business's success. Typically, there's 2 payrolls a month. Well, you're only providing the financials once a month. The payrolls, if you do it well, you can really shine for the client and be their hero because you're taking care of something that needs to be done to keep the employees happy. Everybody's expecting it to be taken care of. But it can be taxing for the business owner. So often the business owner starts their company not expecting the headaches that can come with payroll because you've got garnishments and so forth that need to be managed. Well, here you are, you're able to come in as this hero, offer this service, and do so profitably. So let's now talk about profit. You gave one suggestion regarding pricing, the flat fee, just basically for administering it, the $90, and then you talked about the $4 or $5 per person. Just to be clear, maybe I misheard you, but that's per payroll. So if I'm doing weekly payroll, I'm assuming it's $90 times every week and the $4 or $5 times every week, or is it once a month? Kind of elaborate on your pricing.
Great question. Thanks for clarifying that. Yeah, I mean, people will price it obviously, however, in many different ways. But the pricing I was mentioning, the averages I've seen, that is a monthly fee. So, $100 a month, say on average, $5 per employee per month on average. So, that would be one pricing structure there. Other accountants price it differently. They'll say $50 a payroll, or they'll say, $3 per employee per payroll. But I think the base monthly fee and the base per employee fee per month is a pretty standard practice that makes it pretty easy for accounting firms to figure out the margin that they're going to be getting each month for those payroll services. And on top of that, I generally encourage a setup fee, getting somebody set up on a payroll software or switching them to a better platform, that takes work. So a setup fee on the front end, $250 maybe. You could do filing fees if you want. It just depends on the level of service that you're thinking about providing there. And one of the things you said, really was interesting to me, I thought, was just the idea that there's an expectation that from the small business owner that payroll is just going to be part of the package, which is why I tell people minimally you need to, as an accounting professional, do your research and know what and who you recommend for payroll. That's the bare minimum. If your client asks, you say, boom, this is my go-to resource, use them, talk to this person, sign up here. Ideally, you stay more involved in that. One of the things you said that struck me was kind of that, payroll is integral. Payroll for a small business is so relational. Some of the accounting tasks can be hands off, right? Can just be managing transactions and receipts, but payroll, there's like an interaction with the business owner so many times. So one accountant I mentioned earlier who uses payroll as a loss leader, the reason why he chose payroll as a loss leader is because there's so much interaction with the business owner on a weekly basis around payroll. What are the hours? Who are you paying? Who are you not? That it gives him that relational capital with the owner then to earn the right to do other services. So when you're thinking about not just generating profit, but generating value in the eyes of the client, payroll can certainly be one of those areas where you can really build up some value for your clients.
Couldn't agree more. I think that's an excellent example of how that capital is actually used, because it's that one thing that the business owner is hoping goes well with regards to the employees that you're a part of, and you can really shine in that space, and it gives you that regular interaction with the business owner. The second thing I would add to this, and it's totally a tangent, and we don't have to go too far down this, but it's the fact that if you're also providing payroll services, you've got, in theory, your foot in the door with each and every employee to then later offer tax services. And so imagine if an employer had, say, 20, 30, 50 employees, you have the potential of getting, let's say, 50% of those or more as tax clients that you could once a year be doing their tax returns. So not only are you making money at this point now from the client providing the payroll and accounting services, but then you're individually making money from each of the individuals that you're doing the tax returns for. You've got their payroll information. You know what's going on there. And so it gives you a direct tie-in to basically this additional revenue stream that honestly you have every right, if you're forthright with the business owner, to say, hey, by the way, I'm already doing your accounting, I'm doing your payroll. Hopefully you're doing their tax returns, both business and individual. You can then say, by the way, would you mind if I offer my tax services to your employees? And it could be simply, hey, I'm coming in once a year and I'm going to do a tax party or excuse me, a pizza party with the employees to simply say, hey, you guys might know me. You've seen me around the office. You know that I'm the one that manages your payroll. I also do tax services. Here's some of the things that I can do. And you can essentially be offering tax planning and tax preparation services to your employees and thus capitalize on this even further. And it's all stemming from the payroll services that you've chosen to provide.
Brilliant. Yeah, absolutely. And you never know, the employee's wife might own a business, employee's friend, buddy, aunt. You never know who the networking opportunities that are there. That's a great, great point.
Exactly. So we've talked now about why they should be offering payroll services. We've also alluded to some of the pricing. One of the things that I think might be helpful is, do you have any insights on how to sell payroll services? Why should we be the one taking care of the payroll as opposed to either them or a payroll service?
Yeah, well, I mean, there's some good practices in sales in general that certainly apply here in payroll. One, I would say, is focus on the pain point. The pain points for payroll are pretty obvious. Employees get paid incorrectly, not on time, they're unhappy, morale sinks, performance lags, right? There's also the pain point of compliance liability. Hey, you're not a financial professional, small business owner. You don't stay up to date on the all the tax requirements for your locality or for COVID related things. So you do what you do best. You let us take care of the compliance. So the pain points, focusing on the pain points that can be present for payroll, is definitely a great way to sell it. But on the positive side of things, these small business owners want to be a hero. Everybody wants to be a hero. And so in marketing, a great way to sell is to make your ideal client the hero of your marketing story. What story are you telling, and how are they being the hero of that story, and how are you guiding them on how to be that hero? So how would your services equip small business owner to be a better business owner, to be a better employer, to be a more successful business owner? Would be the first two things that come to mind for me. What are the pain points that they're facing, and how can you address those? And then if those pain points are addressed, how does that make them kind of the superhero of the story that you're painting for them?
I love that. The whole hero idea is exactly right. This gives you a chance to really become the hero for probably one of the bigger pains that they're experiencing. And if you can eliminate this for them, you're that hero. But imagine now their relief that they can now go focus on other things that perhaps matter to them more. So that's really good. Let's talk about now the connection between the software, the payroll software, and the accounting software. As we said at the beginning, there's the accounting software as well. I'm curious, is there a niche that you're trying to fill with the accounting software that you offer? How is it different than the others? Why, as an accounting firm, would this be a solution that we should be considering? Is it industry specific? Is it the user experience? I mean, what's special that we should know about it?
Yeah, great question. Thanks for asking that. I think the niche that Patriot is really trying to fill is honestly for that small business. That was our heartbeat, right? Or that was our passion when we started out, was really the small business owner. Picture the maybe the mechanic shop owner who's got receipts in a shoebox, and just not really ever keeping their books in a way that's going to benefit them or help them. And that's where the software started, both payroll and accounting, for that small business owner directly. And as we have really matured both the payroll and the accounting side of the software, as it's become more automated, as more features have been added in our 20 some years that we've been in business, we've always kept that small business owner in mind, trying to keep it as easy as possible for her to use it, as she runs her business. At the same time, though, we really, in the accounting software, are trying to balance out the ease of use for that small business owner with, I guess, what I'd call like respectability from accounting professionals, right? We want an accounting professional to look at it and say, oh yeah, I know what this is. This has the features I want and need, while at the same time it maintains that super easy to use feel. So we are definitely aiming at the small business. We do not have enterprise level solutions. That's just not our target audience. So super focused on the small business, definitely trying to automate as much of the process as we can. And our pitch really is, accounting software doesn't have to be as expensive as some of the other players in the field think it needs to be. It can actually be something that's quite affordable. It can actually be something that is pretty quick for the small business owner to understand and to be able to use.
Very good. Now, obviously, we're talking about software, both the accounting, payroll softwares. You have a unique perspective in the sense that as you work with accounting firms, bookkeeping firms, tax firms, one of the things that you're providing is a part of this tech stack that they're going to be using in their business. I'm curious, what complements well the accounting software that you provide, or better said, how does your software complement some of the other tech stack items that they may be utilizing? Help me understand what tools you find them using and how they complement each other.
Yeah. Let me first speak in some general terms, and then you maybe drill down into some specifics. And if you want to interject after I kind of wrap up my general stuff, that's fine too.
Yeah.
The first thing I've noticed about the tech stack in general, there are two suggestions I would make, tips that I would make to any accountant. One is diversification. Diversification of the tech stack, brings greater strength to the firm. Not having all your eggs in one basket can definitely bring some benefit, right? So if one company raises prices or cancels a product, you're not left holding the bag at the end of the day. You've got some other solutions that you're familiar with. I do talk to plenty of accounting professionals who just are super hesitant to diversify. They think there's only one option out there, and that's what everybody uses, and they can't change it, and their clients would never go for it. And I think that just leaves them in a weaker position. So diversifying your tech stack, at least being familiar with multiple solutions in each portion of your tech stack, whether that's your GL software, your payroll software, your spend management software, your bill pay software, whatever it is. I think diversification leads to strength. Now, on the flip side of that, though, there's often times where I have to suggest to accountants, standardization could really help your firm as well. I think specifically with some of the smaller accounting firms, the smaller bookkeeping firms, there's a willingness just to use whatever tool the client is currently using to work with any tool, any software provider that the client has, and never standardizing. And that, I think, can lead to weakness as well. So in my mind, it's a bit of an art. Developing the tech stack is a bit of an art as well as a science. There's a side of it where you need to have diversification, exposure to multiple providers and partners. But there's also a side of it where you have to be willing at some point to standardize within that and to say to your clients, listen, I don't actually work with that tool. If you work with me, you have to go this direction in one of these options. Do you see anything similar, Roger, as you work with folks?
I do. In fact, what I'll add to this is that one of the conversations I have with the firms when I'm talking to them is there's a great way to determine whether or not to use a technology. I mean, technology just by itself can sometimes be sexy and it's like, wow, I should be paying for that. But the first thing I think is the question, is this client facing or is this internal, inside your business facing? In other words, who's going to use this and benefit from it the most? And sometimes what we're doing as accounting professionals is we're finding technologies that really could benefit our clients. Hey, they should be using this. This could really help them in their situation with what they're doing. Now, we also as accounting professionals could benefit if they chose to use this. But the question is do they as the client see the value? Are they willing to pay for it, use it, train their people to use it? They've got to see the benefit. And only if that's done correctly will they actually pay and use it. Then there's the internal ones, things that our clients don't see, but we use inside the office to run our business. And the question simply becomes, is it really helping us and how? And what I mean by that is one way to gauge whether or not it's useful is if it's automating or streamlining processes that need to be done. If it can, through the software, the application, eliminate a variety of steps so that something can be done quicker or easier, that's excellent. It's a time saver. The other is more efficiency from workflow. It's removing errors or ensuring that things be done in a certain process. Those types of things are very helpful when we're working, so that if we're leveraging the technology in one of those two ways, it's a step in the right direction. But the thing that I would really wonder is, as you're working with all this tech or seeing the firms use the tech, there's, I think, a concern. And let me just kind of set the stage for this. I just recently did a focus group with accounting firm owners. And as we were talking to them, I was amazed where they felt that some of the software, technology, apps were still changing so quickly. They were doing more training and not utilizing them to the greatest extent possible. And they felt that they were becoming distractions in their business. And they felt that the default was to go back to the Excel spreadsheet. What would you say about that? Do you have any insights on that?
That's fascinating. I haven't come across that in my conversations yet. But one thing, I do see is, a firm will, when we're, marketing the accounting software in particular, or sometimes the payroll software too, somebody will say, oh, well, does this integrate with, you name it, tech tool that's out there? And we'll either say yes or no. And if it's no, my follow-up question is, okay, talk to me about how that fits into your workflow. Oh, well, I don't actually really use it. I like it. And I wanted to know if you integrated with it. And so it's just, it's really fascinating. There's so many great tools that are out there that there can be kind of a tend to acquire the tool or to sign up for it or to learn it without ever critically, thinking, is this really going to enhance my workflow for my clients? So I do see kind of an overhype of, we need every integration that's out there, every tool that's out there. And then at the end of the day, they do get unused. And so that can be a real danger, I think, to avoid. If I may, you asked me, who do we play well with? How do we complement a good tech stack?
Yes.
We do play very well with QuickBooks. So what we see primarily as a use here at Patriot is people turn to us for payroll. It's our bread and butter. It's what we've been best at the longest. They turn to us for payroll, and then we'll integrate that payroll data directly into their QuickBooks Online or the QuickBooks Desktop account. They're turning to us for payroll, one, to diversify the tech stack so that payroll and GL aren't all with the same company. Two, because they can just be more profitable with the prices we're charging and the automation we're bringing. On the accounting side, our accounting software currently tends to be a nice alternative to like a QuickBooks Online. If you have clients who are really cost conscious and want to keep their costs low and need something maybe a little easier to use, that's where our accounting software currently fits in. That's just an honest assessment of where it is. Now we're really working on it, hoping to change that, increasing market share, increasing the size of company that would find the accounting product as the ideal fit. So we are trying to really chip away at the market share that some of the big players in the field have. But currently, for accountants at least, it's kind of that really nice alternative that they learn and have in place for when that smaller client comes along who needs just an ultra affordable, easy to use platform.
Perfect. I like that. I'm going to ask you some other questions here, just because I think you've got some insights. When we were getting ready for this conversation, you mentioned something about pricing that I thought was interesting. You had a phrase that you said earlier that alludes to it, and it was about the accountant's reluctance to get paid what they're worth. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I see this all the time, talking in conferences, or I'm part of a bunch of social media groups with accounting professionals. And there's a real hesitance. And it seems, I don't have hard data on this, but it sometimes seems to me the newer or smaller the firm, the greater the fear for charging a legitimate price for service. And I have compiled, particularly on the payroll side, what people are charging for payroll. It's a little easier to get a grasp on what accountants are charging for just, individual payroll services. And the number of folks who come in so far under that kind of standard of, $100 a month, $5 an employee, who are making $1 a month on their payroll services unintentionally,
Yeah.
not using it as a loss leader, just not charging enough. And the number of people who come back with the, oh gosh, I don't know if they would ever pay that, or if I charge that, well, they'll just go directly to, you name it, payroll provider, Paychex, ADP, Patriot, Gusto, anybody who's out there, right? And so I've had to seriously train some of the clients that I've worked with, saying, listen, you're your client's most valuable resource, not your payroll software, not your accounting software. You, the financial professional, the accountant, the bookkeeper, the CFO, you are their most valuable resource. And you need to believe that first and then charge that accordingly. You need to understand you're bringing value to this client. You're the eyes on the ground with them. You're the one having the relationship with them. When they come to a company like Patriot or ADP or whoever directly, they're, as much as we try to support them, right, they're still just one of thousands upon thousands upon thousands of clients. When they're working with you, they're one of a dozen or one of 100. So you're providing just a super high level of value, and you need to be willing to say, hey, I'm worth fill in the blank. My time
Yeah.
is worth this. And when you're paying me for accounting or for payroll, whatever it might be, you're paying for this relationship, for this knowledge, for this personalized service, not just for the task to be completed.
Perfect. Now, regarding process, you've also kind of mentioned this or tapped into it, and it's when doing all of this work, there's a lot to be said for workflow and managing the business and the client experience. What do you have as to thoughts regarding that interaction that the accountant is having with their client?
This is where, for me, standardization is the name of the game. Again, one of the mistakes I see too many firms making is just a lack of process. And perhaps that comes down to like a generosity, I think, where, oh, I'd love to work with you. I want to meet your needs. You might also call it desperation, right? I'm desperate to get a client. Whatever it might be that leads to it, I see too many firms who are working in too many ways, doing too many different types of packages, too many different types of tasks, and too many softwares for too many different types of clients. And it's just too time consuming, and it leads to some inefficiencies. I was speaking to one firm once, and it was an older gentleman, a successful firm, maybe 15, 20 employees, couple hundred clients, at least on the payroll side of things. And in the midst of our conversation, he said, Scott, I'm just tired of letting my clients run my business, because he was doing payroll for them 100 different ways. After the fact, live, direct deposit, checks, you name it, they were doing it. And in the midst of looking at Patriot, who he ultimately did not choose to work with, by the way, so this isn't just a shameless plug for us, but in the midst of looking at a software platform like ours and the standardization and automation we bring, he said, I'm just tired of letting my clients run my business. I'm ready to run my business again, and to set the stage to say, this is how we work here. This is how we operate. If this fits for you, you're a good client for us. If it doesn't fit for you, have a nice day.
Perfect. No, I like that. That was a good little summary of everything. Let me kind of switch gears on us, going outside of the accounting. I'm curious, what is something that you're thankful for?
Man, you surprised me with that one. I am super thankful for my 3 boys who enjoy sports with me. I have a 9-year-old, a 7-year-old, and a 3-year-old. And my love language is quality time. So the way I show my kids I love them is that I like to play sports with them. And they throw the football with me in the front yard. They go out there and play disc golf with me. And the daddy-son time is just fantastic.
I love it. Now, you said something that's very important to me. You said love languages. What are the 3 love languages of each of your boys?
Oh, man. The oldest, words of affirmation and gifts. Absolutely. You cannot tell him enough good things about himself. And if you get him something new, man, he turns into an entirely different kid. The middle child, our 7-year-old, I think he's probably going to be a quality time guy and physical touch. He is, man, he's a cuddler. He is all up in everybody's space all the time. Physical touch, not high on my list, by the way. And the little guy, the 3-year-old, I think it's probably a little too early to tell.
Yep. Okay. And what's yours then?
Me, a big words of affirmation and quality time guy. So if you want to tell me I did a good job here after we're done, that'll make my day.
Excellent. How about your spouse?
Physical touch, off the charts. Yep, she's a feeler for sure.
I love this. Now, you brought this up. I'm curious, how did learning those love languages change your relationships?
Oh man, I mean it revolutionizes, I think, just about any relationship you're in. I think really what they're about is empathy and understanding people's wiring, and once you understand some of the basic concepts of like the way I feel loved is how I tend to give love, but that's not how others always feel love. Like that just is so helpful. And so it brings intentionality into your parenting, into your marriage, into your coworker relationships, into your friendships, just understanding that different people have different sorts of wiring, and some people really need encouragement. Some people need a hug. Some people just need you to sit with them and spend time with them. I guess it changes the way you look at people. Instead of just assuming somebody's one way, you actually seek to understand their unique setup, and then you seek to serve them accordingly.
I love this. This is amazing. That book that if you're a listener and you're not familiar with what we're discussing is Love Languages, and it's incredible. It's actually something that's been, I think, very instrumental in my life and the relationships I have. And Scott, it's obviously been something that's profound for you as well. And I can't speak highly enough of it. It's probably up there with one of the top 5, if not top 10 books that I would recommend to anyone and everyone. So that's beautiful.
Can I make another book recommendation while we're at it?
Please.
My number one all-time book that's kind of in a similar vein is called Leadership and Self-Deception. It's by the Arbinger Institute. Leadership and Self-Deception. The basic premise of the book is that we as humans will tell ourselves lies about the people around us to justify our own poor behavior toward them. So I might say, for example, man, that Roger guy, he is just so pushy, right? And what I'm really doing is just justifying my excuse to ignore you, right? Oh, that's just Roger being Roger, and he's just pushy, so I'm going to ignore him and not get back to him when he contacts me twice in the same day to answer his question. But what the book, just highlights so clearly is if you can identify those lies you're telling about the people around you and get rid of those lies and actually serve the people around you as if they were human beings just like you, it just changes everything. So Leadership and Self-Deception, the Arbinger Institute, look it up. It's amazing. It's written like a story, so it's a little bit cheesy, but it's a super easy read because it's a story, and the points they'll change your relationships, all of them.
I love it. Love it. So here it is. Our listeners have got 2 book recommendations that they can go read. I'll actually take and put those in the description of the podcast so that they can just go there to the podcast and get the information that they're needing to find those. So let me do this then. I'm going to summarize what we've been discussing. And at the end, I'm going to come back and ask you, Scott, for any final words of thought. So let me just go here, first of all, as a summary, let me start with the offer. I'm going to begin with that. The first thing is you want to go to the episode description, and there you're going to find some information about the 2 books that we were just discussing. We'll actually provide that there for you to click and easily find. In addition to that, what I want to do is just put some information regarding Patriot, both the accounting and payroll software, so that you can get that information easily for you to take advantage of. Scott's got some great things that we can put there for you to take advantage of. And then the last thing that I want to talk about is because we discuss pricing and marketing, I'm going to put in the episode description some information regarding the Turnkey Business Plan. This happens to be information that you need in order to work on your business, addressing the 4 areas of your company that you need to emphasize as you work on your business to, in fact, build the premier accounting firm. We're going to be talking about your business plan, the marketing and selling of services effectively, pricing those services effectively. You don't want to miss out on this course. Definitely go there to get the information you need to sign up for it. It's free, so you'll definitely get the benefit of going through that. The summary that I have for our conversation today is, I think, first and foremost, the value of offering payroll services. It's more than just a possible revenue stream for your business, and in fact can be a profitable service that you can provide. It literally is something that can give you the capital that we were discussing earlier with your client, so that you're interacting with them with the thing that probably is their first frustration when looking at you as their solution is not the accounting reports that you're providing, but the ease of which payroll is now being taken care of. And then for you as a profit center, not only can you and should you be making money with the advice that Scott provided as to pricing your payroll services effectively, but then we also just quickly added to that the opportunity to then, if you chose to offer tax services, to leverage those relationships and later get them as tax clients as well. So a lot of great topics here. We talked about the tech stack that accounting firms have in their business and how different softwares could be evaluated, apps be considered as to whether or not you're going to use them in your business or recommend them to your clients. So I thought that was a great discussion. And then I loved hearing what we said at the end there as we were talking about love languages, whether it be personal or professional, understanding the need that the client or the individual has in the relationships that we have with them helps communication so much better when you know what they're looking for out of the relationship, what it is you can bring to fill their need and really become that help that they're looking for in their own life, whether it be personal or professional. So definitely a great conversation today, and I thank Scott for it. So real quickly, Scott, what are your final thoughts?
Final thoughts for me is just an encouragement to all the accounting professionals out there to just continue to focus your practice on providing the services that only you can provide. You are a valuable resource to your clients. And really where I see the industry going is moving toward that trusted, valued advisor. So find folks like Patriot or whoever out there, software providers, find partners that will help you automate as many of the tasks that you can so that you can focus on those tasks that can't be automated, that client service, that high-level advisory stuff, speaking the client's love language so they feel valued and cared for. That's what you can provide. So let folks like Patriot handle the automated stuff, and you go out there and just focus on providing a really high level of service to your clients.
Beautiful. Scott, thank you so much for that. So in that, just remember, go to the episode description and you'll find information there, free resources that you can take advantage of as you work on your business to build a premier accounting firm in your area. And always remember, if it's about accounting, it is universal. So listen to our episodes, subscribe to the podcast, and we would encourage you to take advantage of the different experts that we've had on the show as they share insights on things that you can be doing to run and in fact have the premier accounting firm in your area. For more information on how you can apply these principles in your business, you can also visit us at universalaccountingschool.com or give us a phone call at 801-265-3777. And always remember, accounting success is universal. Take care and have a great day, everybody.